Ah, Apple. One of those things that help you grow with the right macronutrients that would help you live life and keep them doctors away. Not the one that hit Newton either. And definitely not the one that Eve allegedly used to ruin humanity itself. I meant the other fucking Apple, which is a $4 trillion company that pretty much works hard for the last 15 minutes to create a new phone. That Apple is my Apple. This is about Apple Inc., the company that somehow made rectangles worth more than cars. How did we get here? How did a couple of dudes in a garage build a tech empire that makes people willingly sell their kidneys for the latest iPhone? Well, let's see. Meet Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Two guys who looked at a beige-colored keyboard-attached computer and said, yeah, let's make this cool. These two Steves weren't just any Steves. Wozniak was a computer genius, and Jobs was a marketing mastermind who could probably make communism work with his marketing. Together, they created Apple's first computer, the Apple in a garage. Yes, while most people use garages for cars or hoarding things they'll never use, these guys used theirs to start a tech revolution. It didn't have a screen, fancy buttons, or even a case. But it made money, which is better than 90% of startup ideas today. Then came the Apple II family, the company's first real computer. Unlike the first one, it didn't look like it belonged in a high school science project. It had color graphics, a keyboard, and, wait for it, actual commercial success. Apple was now a rising star. Investors threw money at them like they were the next big boy band. But Apple's real turning point came in 1984 with the Macintosh. And they didn't just release it, they dropped it like a diss track. At this point, IBM, another software and hardware creator, had some big beef with Apple, and they tried to outdo the other until Apple hired director Ridley Scott, the guy behind Alien and Blade Runner, to make an ad that looked like a sci-fi movie. The commercial basically said, Big Brother is bad. IBM is Big Brother. We are the heroes. Did it work? Oh, absolutely. People saw that ad and thought, I don't know what this computer does, but I need it. And just like that, the Macintosh became an icon. This was the first computer to really push a graphical user interface. You know, with icons instead of just walls of text. It was easy to use, friendly, and the design is very human and had a little smiling face when you turned it on. But behind the scenes, Apple had problems. Big problems. Despite being the face of Apple, Steve Jobs was kind of difficult to work with. Employees feared his wrath like he was a Sith Lord in a turtleneck. Eventually, the board had enough and fired him. Yeah, the guy who co-founded the company got kicked out of his own company. It's almost metaphoric. With Jobs gone, things went from worse to shit. The company started making weird products that nobody wanted, like the Apple Newton basically, an overpriced brick with handwriting recognition so bad, it made toddlers look like calligraphers. At this point, Apple was circling the drain. Microsoft was dominating, and Apple was about as relevant as a fax machine in 2025. So, in a plot twist that nobody saw coming, they begged Steve Jobs to come back. Jobs came back with a vengeance in 1997 and immediately did two things. Got rid of useless project and introduced the iMac, the first Apple product that made people say, wow, I actually want that. Jobs ain't done cooking. Then, in 2007, Steve Jobs dropped the biggest bombshell in tech history. The iPhone. It wasn't just a phone, it was a pocket-sized revolution. No buttons, a touchscreen that actually worked. People lost their minds. From that moment on, Apple wasn't just a computer company. It became a lifestyle. Now that the goat of Apple has passed away instead of another job, we have this mother hover, this average-looking dude who is the CEO of Apple. And from what we know, we should never let Tim cook on another iPhone. Pun intended. Every year, Apple releases a new iPhone that's maybe close to the old one, but with just enough changes to convince people they need it. Genius. Today, Apple is worth trillions and has built an ecosystem so strong that once you're in, you don't want to escape, because you can't. I mean, you couldn't. They have iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, AirTags, and probably an iToaster in development. So, what's next for Apple? A self-driving car? An iFridge? But the most exciting one I am waiting for is iButtplug. But one thing's for sure, no matter what they make, people will line up and buy it, even if it costs one of the kids in your basement. If you enjoyed this trip down Apple's history, Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and send my regards when the new iPhone comes out.